So, I may not have used my punishment jar the very first time I introduced it to video, but boy does it seem to be becoming a permanent feature in my Skee-B-R videos now. Hello everybody, my name is Danny, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to the final Skee-B-R of the year, although technically this is also for next year, but that's besides the point. I got a lot of books to run through, a lot more than I thought, but now I'm looking at the stack before me, and the top one on it I actually didn't finish. We'll get to that. But, yeah, I read a lot more than I thought I did. So, let's start off with talking about the book I didn't finish, and I probably should have prioritized it more. That is Inheritance by Christopher Paolini. This was actually a punishment jar pick during my last Skee-B-R video because I didn't read was it After the King in November, and so I had to pick for my punishment jar, and I picked Inheritance, and I didn't finish it. I'm 36 pages in. Yeah, yikes. I'm debating whether or not I want to carry this over into January, because January is when Violet is hosting the Nostalgia New Year readathon, and I know this would fit several prompts, and so I kind of want to read it then. Also, I just kind of want to read it, but we'll see if I can make it fit for any of my Skee-B-R roles. I'm also just now realizing I didn't introduce the topic. I'm assuming you guys know Skee-B-R. It's my game that I play every month to pick the books that I'm reading, and if I don't read all of them, I pick from my punishment jar to add an extra book, and so I'm just going over the books that I was supposed to read in December, and my first role was actually to do a length prompt, and for that one I picked The Princess Bride, and I did read this and gave it 4 stars. I think I enjoy the movie just a little bit more, most likely because I've seen it before I read it. Like, I've seen it a lot of times, it's one of my favorite movies, but also maybe not because of that. Like, maybe even if I read this first, I would have liked the movie more. The movie's just so good. Then I had a genre prompt where I had to read a manga, comic, or graphic novel, and for that I had tentatively put Full Metal Alchemist Volume 2, and I said I would read this one if I didn't get my hands on Vinland Saga Volume 5, and then I read this very early in the month, and then I ended up picking up Vinland Saga Volume 5 literally the same day. Just later on, my boyfriend and I went to run errands, and we're like, let's just stop at Barnes & Noble, and they had it, so we bought it. And so I read both of these books, and it's a 2-for-1 on this prompt. So that was my second role, and I gave both of these 5 stars. Then I had another genre prompt where I had to pick a romance, and I picked A Little Something Different by Sandy Hall, and I gave this 4 stars. Honestly, if this was the first time I was reading it at this point in my life, it probably would have only been 3, but there's a lot of nostalgia surrounding this book, and for that reason it's 4 stars. It's a super cute college-age romance with 14 different POVs, none of which are the 2 characters who end up together, and if that sounds like your kind of thing, definitely pick it up. It's just not totally my vibe, but it's still such a cute and enjoyable book. And for my last Skee-B-R role, I had an aesthetic prompt where I had to pick a book with warm tones, and I picked The Shadow of Kyoshi, and of course I gave this 5 stars. I think I prefer book 1 just a teeny tiny bit more, but this one is still so good. If you didn't know, Kyoshi is my favorite character in the entire Avatar universe, and so I'm really glad that she got some books. I really wish that it wasn't just a duology and that we get a million more books about her, but that's not my decision, so I will take what we have, and I love both of them so much, and yeah, this book will forever be near and dear to my heart. And besides my Skee-B-R picks, I did read 3 other books, the first of which was The Serpent's Shadow by Rick Riordan. Of course I gave it 5 stars, it's Rick Riordan, so how could I not? I'm really glad I decided to reread the Kane Chronicles recently because I forgot how much I really enjoyed them, and they're like obviously still in the same vein as the Percy Jackson books because they're set in the same universe and everything, but like the way the characters deal with the gods and everything is just so slightly different, and I really enjoyed that about them. I think it's really fun, and I really like Sadie and Carter, and yeah, that's all I have to say. I'm just really glad that I reread this trilogy recently. Then I picked up Jujutsu Kaisen Volume 13, and obviously I gave this 5 stars. I don't want to say too much because it is 13 volumes into the series, and so I'm a little bit scared of spoiling for people, but I think I'm about halfway through the Shibuya incident arc, and there's just so much happening. It's insane, but I still really enjoy where things are going with this series. And finally, I read Kith and Kin by Marika Nijkamp. 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, absolutely amazing. I love this book so much. I love the queer rep and the disability rep, and how it portrays sibling relationships, and plus it's just a really fun fantasy story. There's kind of zombies, which we know I'm obsessed with, and it was so good. It was so good. You should totally pick this up if you haven't already. So before we get into the roles for January, I would just like to explain 2 little tweaks that I'm making to the rules for the coming year. The first involves this guy, the punishment jar. If it looks like there's a lot more slips of paper in there than there were last month, it's because there are. Instead of there being 5 books that I really desperately want to read, and 5 books that I really don't want to read right now in here, I've decided that all of these slips of paper are going to have one of the books or manga that I want to read in 2022 in here. So if you didn't see either of those videos, I just posted them the other day from when this is coming up, because I'm doing a week of videos. And so that's what these are. I figured it would be a good way to help me prioritize those series and those manga. And so that's the first change. The second change is that the points that I roll on my Skee-B-R are actually going to matter now. So I spent way too much money on books recently, and I'm feeling a little bit guilty about it. Not too bad. I enjoy books, so I don't feel like terrible about spending money on them, but I do want to budget a little bit better. And so for now, what I'm doing is for every 10 points I roll on the Skee-B-R board, I don't know what to call it, that is $1 that I can spend on a book if I read that book. If I don't read it, the points don't count. And the exception to this is I am allowed to buy a book if it is something that I pull from the punishment jar. So like I said, all of the books that I want to read in 2020 from that video are in here, and most of the books on that list I do not own, so if that's the one that I pull, I'm allowed to buy it if I can't find it anywhere else. And also, if my boyfriend buys me a book, that doesn't count. So yeah, I feel like based on how much I usually roll and if I read the books, I could end up buying a book every 2 months, every 3 months, which is not very often, but I am also trying to save money, so, and also be more conscious about the books that I'm buying. But also if I go thrift shopping and find books really cheap, then also I could end up buying a whole lot more. So I've rambled enough. Let's move on to my January rolls. Actually, before my rolls, I have to do my punishment jar pick because I didn't read Inheritance. So let's see if I'm spending money right off the bat. Should have shook it before I took the lid off, but it's fine. I'm hoping to get a manga. Hello? Please open. Oh! I got Blue Period, which is a manga about a boy in high school who discovers his love for art. And I was hoping not to get one of the series that's already ongoing because I'm in the middle of so many series, but it's fine. This one's one I'm kind of really looking forward to. So the first volume of Blue Period is the first book on my Skee-B-R TBR for January. And here we are with the first roll for my January Skee-B-R. And that is a 20 points, so it is a genre prompt. Okay, so for the first roll, I got it in the 20-point spot, which results in a genre prompt. So I have the blue bin here. I'm gonna give it a little shake. And this one. A romance. Ooh. don't own a whole lot of romance, so I'm gonna look at my shelves for a moment and see what I have. Okay, so I'm probably gonna hate myself a little bit for putting this on the list, especially so early because I don't know what else is gonna be on here, but we're going with Jane Eyre. Now this is a giant copy because it's got Jane Eyre and Wuthering Heights in it, and while I'd like to read Wuthering Heights at some point, I'm just putting Jane Eyre on this TBR because I'm pretty sure it's a romance. I read it, oh god, like 6, 7 years ago, whenever I was a freshman in college. I think it was 6 years ago. I can't do math. But, I'm putting Jane Eyre on here. I don't know where does it split? Oh, of course Jane Eyre is, like, much larger than Wuthering Heights. 397 pages. That font looked real tiny. I don't know why I'm doing this to myself, but it's fine. Everything's fine. I'm putting it on the list. Moving on, we come to the second roll of the month. Well, I don't know if you can see that, but it's stuck up top of that little circle, so I'm just gonna nudge it a bit, and that makes it a 10 point, and I realize now I didn't switch the little labels, so it would have looked like this, so that's another genre prompt. Boy, am I a mess. And so the second roll was 10 points, and it's another genre prompt. So I got the blue bin again. Let's hope it gives us something a little bit easier to find than a romance, a little bit kinder on the page count. Let's go with this one. Fantasy / magical realism. Okay, I could work with that. Okay, so because I was kind of mean to myself picking Jane Eyre for the first one, I'm going to go with a manga and do Weathering with You Volume 1 for the second pick. And if I'm being honest, I'm probably going to read all 3 volumes in one day like I did with Your Name, but for the official Skee-B-R TBR, it's just Volume 1 on here. And this is fantasy. It's got a character who has weather magic, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading this, and I'm glad that I'll be able to check off something from my 22 manga I want to read so early on in the year. Okay, I remembered to switch the little labels around, so now we can do the third roll for this month. And it's another 10, so we have an aesthetic prompt. Okay, and the third roll was also 10 points, and that means we have an aesthetic prompt. So I have my green bin here. I'm gonna give it a little shake and see what the Skee-B-R gods bring us with this one. Of course, they're all sticking together. Oop, this one's only one. Okay, I pulled warm tones, but I feel like this is the 3rd month in a row that I've pulled warm tones, so I'm gonna pick a different one. Let's see. I dropped it. Go with this one. A hardcover book. Pretty simple. I'll be right back. Okay, so that was a lot easier than the other picks were. I'm gonna be reading Daughter of the Deep by Rick Riordan. This is his new book that just came out like last month, and I'm so excited to get to this. Yeah, it's Rick Riordan. Obviously, I'm gonna love it. This is a retelling of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, which, fun fact, is no, I was gonna say it's the first classic I've ever read. Technically, the first classic I ever read was Moby Dick, and I was in 3rd grade, but it was like an abridged version, obviously, because what 3rd grader reads like the actual Moby Dick? But yeah, I read 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea in 4th grade, and it was like the actual version. I don't know what kind of child I was, but yeah, Daughter of the Deep. It's not his first foray into the world outside of the Percy Jackson universe, but like he doesn't write a whole lot outside of the Percy Jackson universe, and I'm so excited to read this. I'm really glad that I got to put it on this TBR. And now we come to the last roll of the first month of 2022. And that's a 10 point, so we get a length prompt. Okay, and the last roll was also 10 points, and so that's a length prompt, and I have my D8 here. This is actually a new die. My brother for Christmas got me the newest D&D adventure book, The Wild Beyond the Witchlight, and it came with a bunch of fun stuff, including a set of dice. And so it's orange with purple color on the numbers, and it's really cute. And so we're gonna roll, and let's see. Alright, that is a 4. So that means I have to pick a book between 301 and 400 pages. I will be back after checking some page counts. Okay, so for a book between 301 and 400 pages, I'm going with Trail of Lightning by Rebecca Roanhorse. Technically, the story itself ends on page 295, but there is some extra stuff in the back of my edition that brings the total page count to 301. So I got tired of looking through pages and looking through books to find page numbers, and so I'm reading this. This is a reread for me. I read it in 2018 when it first came out. Is it 2018? Oh, I can't find the page where it says that, but I'm pretty sure it was 2018, and I'm really looking forward to rereading it so I can read the sequel. I really, really liked this book. It is a post-apocalyptic book with Navajo mythology, and the main character is a monster hunter. It's really, really good. So it's the last book on this Skee-B-R, so I'm going to gather my frazzled thoughts and do a little wrap-up for you guys. And so these 4 books, plus one more, are the books I have to read for Skee-B-R, sort of. I don't know how to hold these without dropping them. So first off, we have Blue Period Volume 1 was my punishment pick. It's not really a punishment anymore, because it's all books that I really want to read. I'm still going to call it a punishment pick because I like the alliteration. So that's the first book. Then we have Jane Eyre. I'm only reading the first half because I'm not also going to read Wuthering Heights, or maybe I will. It's not required. We'll see. Then I have Weathering with You, Volume 1. Oh, I'm completely messing this up. Jane Eyre is a romance pick. Weathering with You is a fantasy or magical realism pick. Then I have Daughter of the Deep, which is a hardcover book, and Trail of Lightning, which is a book between 301 and 400 pages, even though I am fudging that a little bit by counting the extra bits at the end. Oh boy, I feel like I've been filming for an hour now, and it usually doesn't take me that long to film this, so I'm tired. Yeah. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up. You can subscribe to my channel for more content, and that way I'll see you in the next video, which is coming out tomorrow. It is my last video of the new year, seeing as if you're watching this on the day it comes out, tomorrow is the last day of the year. I think I said of the new year. I'm a mess, it's fine. Yeah, tomorrow is my last video of the year, and it's the last one in this run of videos where I'm doing a video every day. And it'll be my TBR for the Nostalgia New Year Readathon, so come check that out. Bye, guys!